thanks again. As I said, I'm the program director of HeatSmart Tompkins, also serving Chemung County. And at HeatSmart, we are a community nonprofit dedicated to education and outreach. We don't make any profit off of any sales that result as the result of our efforts, our outreach efforts. And we are just most concerned with being a guide to any building owner or homeowner or resident in the community who wants to enjoy the cost savings, the comfort and convenience, and the climate solutions that are offered by home weatherization and heat pumps. We are one of about 20 NYSERDA clean heating and cooling communities. NYSERDA stands for the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. And this agency is dedicated to energy efficiency and climate solutions, and is paid for actually by all of us every month. When we pay our utility bill, we pay a little service charge called the Systems Benefit Charge, and that goes to funding NYSERDA. And as you can see here, these clean heating and cooling communities have spread throughout New York, so that now most New York residents are served by one of these community programs. I really love to show this map though, because it shows that HeatSmart started right in Tompkins County here, represented by the dark blue, and is now spread to Chemung County, which is actually where Sean and I both live. And we were the original clean heating and cooling program, the original HeatSmart program that started by just a grassroots effort locally. So a few people sitting around a table thinking, how can we help our neighbors to implement climate solutions in a practical way in their own homes? And now this program has been taken up by New York State and spread across the state. So we're really, really proud of the role we played in helping get this off the ground. So why is it important to have such a thing as a clean heating and cooling community program? That is because we find ourselves in the midst of what some of us call the climate crisis or the climate emergency, which is caused by emissions from fossil fuel combustion. So those emissions are sometimes called greenhouse gases. They are trapped in the atmosphere and are rapidly warming our planet up. So we need to figure out a way to slow down the emissions of these greenhouse gases. And we're very fortunate in New York that our government takes this seriously, and that with the pressure of a lot of grassroots groups passed last year, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, called the CLCPA. And this law now requires us to reduce emissions from all of the major sectors that are producing these greenhouse gases. And as you can see from this graphic, our buildings represent about a third of all the emissions in New York. And I consider this graphic to be a little bit off, because it doesn't actually include the emissions that contribute to buildings before the fuels get to the buildings. And if you did include those emissions, it actually would be quite a bit higher. So the mission of HeatSmart and all the clean heating and cooling programs is to help building owners and residents to reduce those emissions. So how do we use energy in our buildings? Well, mostly it's for heating, because we're in a heating dominant climate here, a little bit of air conditioning along with the heating. And a lot also goes to water heating. This graphic says 15%, and we've seen anywhere between 15 to 20% estimated as average for a New York household. We're also concerned about the efficiency of your appliances and your lighting, but as you can see, those are somewhat smaller pieces of the pie, and really heating is the biggest use of energy in your house. So the HeatSmart recommendations are to take a look at your building envelope. That is how well insulated and air sealed your building is, because no matter how you're producing warmed or cooled air, you want that conditioned air to stay inside the building with you instead of to go, right out the window or the attic or the basement. And then for heating and cooling, what we recommend is some kind of heat pump system. There are several kinds. Air source and ground source are the two main categories, and within each of those, there's different kinds. And then also we recommend heat pumps for water heating as well. This is just a little look at some of the different kinds of heat pumps. As you can see over here on the left, we have the air source heat pumps. What's shown here is a ductless mini split. This is the outdoor unit. And then Sean has some slides that will show what the indoor units look like. And these are a really attractive option. They're very adaptable to different living spaces and different kinds of buildings. Then in the middle, you have sort of the gold standard or the ground source for geothermal heat pump systems that can provide heating, cooling, and hot water heating for a whole home or building. And then here on the right is the heat pump, standalone heat pump water heater, which is a great place to start. If you have an older or less efficient water heater or a leaky water heater, or just are considering a new construction building, whatever, these heat pump water heaters are really efficient, terrific, and there's a great rebate available from NYSEG that helps offset the cost of those, as well as a federal tax credit. So you can get $1,000 off the cost right off the top. Insulation and air sealing, otherwise known as weatherization. This little graphic just shows that, insulation is like that warm sweater you put on. It really does help keep you warm, and the insulation for your house does the same thing. But what it doesn't do is keep the cold air from flowing in. For that, you need air sealing, which is represented here by this windbreaker, right? So both of those things together are known as weatherization, and that's mostly what Sean is going to talk about. That's what ZeroDraft specializes in. You can sort of tell from the name. They want to seal up all those cracks so that there's no drafts in your home or your building. So without any further ado, I am going to turn it over to Sean to walk us through this case study. But before he gives his presentation, I'm going to just show you a little video that we made this summer, actually at my house, about ZeroDraft. And I want to apologize for the caterpillar moths that are bombarding Sean during the interview. They're a little bit distracting. We were doing it outside under my maple tree, which was covered with moths at the time. So hopefully the video will play well and the audio will be good. Here you go. We're gonna play that now.
Hi, my name is Sean O'Banion. I'm with ZeroDraft. I've been with the company for 9 years. I've been doing this for about 15. I started off installing for about 6, and then for about 9 years, I've been an energy auditor with ZeroDraft. It's an employee-owned company. There's a percentage of the employees who have been there for a period of time that have a percentage. So at the end of the year, we get a percentage of the profit that the company makes. When you choose ZeroDraft, we are looking for your best interest. We're not just coming in and gonna blow and go. We're gonna air seal your attic. We're going to insulate it properly with the right materials. Also, we're going to look at all the programs that you could qualify for so that you can take advantage. When I do an energy audit, I'm looking for the low-hanging fruit that maybe the homeowner could do themselves, or I'm looking for what opportunities they have for the programs to take advantage of. But I'm also actually, for a moment, putting myself into their shoes and actually figuring out what I would do if I was them. So we usually see a complete energy audit where the homeowner decides to do everything we recommend. We usually see somewhere between 20 and 50% in energy reduction. It helps indoor air quality, and it really helps the comfort in the house. You often can turn down your thermostat because you don't need to keep it cranked up high to feel comfortable. I really like helping people, and I really like meeting people that have especially referred me through a friend, family, neighbor. It's the best feeling to have somebody not only let me into their home, but also trust me to guide them in their insulation or their home improvement efforts.
So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Sean, who is going to walk us through a recent job that they did and tell you a little bit more about ZeroDraft. So take it away, Sean.
Well, thanks, Lisa. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm Sean, and I'm glad to be here with you today. Actually, since that video, it's been 10 years, about last month. So it's 10 years and 1 month now that I've been with ZeroDraft. I love doing this type of work. Like I said in the video, I've been doing it for 15 years. I enjoy my day, every single day, day in and day out. We really do, help a lot of people. Lisa, if you want to go to the first slide. So ZeroDraft, we're locally owned and operated. We're based out of Syracuse. Like Lisa mentioned, I'm here in Chemung County. We've helped more than 20,000 homes throughout the years since 2004, which is pretty impressive, I think. Saying I used to do the work, it's a lot of houses to be in and out of. We are participating in this HeatSmart program and our great partners, like I said, to assist homeowners and renters even to apply for these grants and then even loans if needed, so that they can, take advantage based on income for these different incentives. Let's see, next slide. So what we're looking at right here, this is our case study. This is a typical, mobile home. We have a lady that was about to retire. She's about a year away from retiring. She called us. Her main reason was she had cold floors and drafts. It was a good thing she called ZeroDraft. So in the finding, or when she called, we found that she was Empower eligible, which means it's a fully funded program offered through New York State and NYSERDA. We gathered all her information, her utility bills, her wood consumption and kerosene, so we could estimate how much she's going to save, so that the state could then potentially approve all the measures that I found. Next slide, please. So her main desire, what I found when I did the home visit, was that she was, trying to use less wood too, because she's going to be retiring, and that's a lot of work. Getting that wood delivered, getting it in, and it's just something that she didn't look forward to in her retiring years. We set up the audit, and what I do when I'm at the audit is I'm looking for insulation improvements. Like you can see here, we're looking at a weather stripping or an attempt of sealing up the front door here with some sticky foam. And then also on the right, we're looking at the underside of the belly, which had some repairs done and some plywood put up so that it could stop that air from coming in. But if it's not sealed properly, the insulation is not replaced, it's not going to do what it's intended to do. So that's why we have solutions to remedy that. Next slide, please. So we're looking for health and safety as well. So when I go into the house, not only am I looking for things that the homeowner can do, like caulking, if the state doesn't approve it, or if they don't want to pay for it. I'm also looking for health and safety, testing the appliances, checking for gas leaks, to ensure that the house won't be negatively affected, if we start to tighten up the home. And in this case, the only thing we actually found was that her dryer vent was, if I didn't have actually a great photo of this, but the hose went straight up 4 feet over, then down to go right out the wall. And instead of just making a quick 90-degree turn and out about a foot away, it just saves one energy, and it's not a potential fire hazard with lit building up with all those crazy turns. And then also a smoke and a CO detector, a new one, because she had pretty dated smoke detectors, but she actually did not have a working carbon monoxide. So that's, like I mentioned, we try to do no harm. So that's priority one, is to check on those. Next slide, please. So what we found and what we got approved, or actually skip this one, sorry. So what we found and what we got approved was some a bunch of insulation. So we added 2 inches of foam under the entire belly of the home, and then around the perimeter, the first foot, we added an additional 1 inch, so that there's not sort of a bleeding where it goes out towards the edge and kind of bypasses the middle. So it helps button it up even more. Again, the weather stripping that you saw, where she tried to put the gasket sticky sticky gasket, which doesn't really, I mean, it helps some, but it doesn't really solve the problem. And then of course, like I mentioned, clear caulking. And then in this case, she actually got approved for a 3-head air source heat pump system, which would get her away from using the excessive amount of wood, you know, in the times that she doesn't or isn't going to be able to. And then also she has really efficient cooling now. And then she's not going to use that kerosene also. And we worked with, we don't actually install the heat pump systems. We work with our partners here. In this case, it was simply installs. They do great work. And we'll see the photos here in a moment. And actually there was zero cost to this, like I mentioned, it for even this heat pump system, because there was other programs that were out. The ADDER program, which is the heat demonstration study, heat pump demonstration study. Next slide, please. So here's some of the solutions and some photos of it. So this is the underside foaming of the belly. And this really does, really buttons up everything. It provides adequate separation from the outside and the elements. Like I said, not only does it stop the air and fill up all the gaps, but it gives you that insulation, that R value that really stops the cold air from working its way through. And then the heat can build up and warm up those floors like she was looking to do. Next slide, please. So this is some weather stripping, and you can actually still see some of the sticky foam on the door because that stuff doesn't really come off very well either. It leaves a nice, lovely residue. And then that's a nice gasket to seal it. It sort of doubles up the existing one that's there. And then we also provide sweeps at the bottom of the door. And then on the right, you're going to see, you can barely see it actually. The guys do such a great job. Caulking, it's paintable caulk. So when you go to paint the walls or touch up the ceiling or, you know, redo that trim, you can still paint over it, but it seals up the gap at the top and the bottom. And you can see the very slight line of caulking there that Lisa was showcasing on the left. And it really does button up the house. See, the idea is you want to stop the cold air from coming in, because how it works is a cubic foot of air into your home is a cubic foot of air out. So if you seal at the top of the house, and then again at the bottom with the spray foam, it's just gonna button it all up, reduce your air exchanges per hour. And then when you're gonna feel more comfortable, like I mentioned in the video, you can drop that thermostat. And then the cool thing too about the heat pump system and having the different interior heads is that you can create different zones. So, you know, say you're in one area of the house for a period of time, you can be a little warmer in the other areas, you know, maybe not so much, depending. And this is the type of indoor unit that I was speaking of. And here's the size of a controller on the left. I put my wallet down so you can kind of see a nice scale. These units are great. They do, like I mentioned, heating and cooling. And this will be able to provide, and even in the coldest days of the winter, heat throughout the entire home, which is pretty impressive. Saying, you know, because we were in this type of climate, but now these units work quite well, and I can attest she's very pleased. Next slide, please. So as well as getting a well-sealed home with ZeroDraft, you know, she's now sitting pretty. She's able to retire now in peace and comfort. And when I was at the house to do the final inspection, she actually said, she's like, I feel like I won the lottery with all these things done. And it was just really rewarding. You know, I mentioned I love this job. It's a big reason why is, you know, the end result and the happy homeowners. You know, be sure, you know, to sign up and ask any questions that you might have. And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sean. So, you know, the HeatSmart program is for everybody, but it used to be that people thought of our program really as for wealthy people that could afford to buy heat pumps. And when we started out, that was actually pretty true. But because of a lot of the policy work that we've also worked on along with others, there's now all these rebates and at the federal level tax credits for heat pumps, and the programs for the weatherization, the insulation, the air sealing. There is a program, if you're not income qualified, that does give some grants called Comfort Home. But the program, we're really pleased to be able to help people who are lower income access all of these energy efficiency improvements, including heat pumps. So this customer got a free heat pump system through the heat pumps demonstration study. That study is over. There are some more grants for lower income folks that are going to be available soon. And then actually for not moderate income, but for low income, the state is about to launch a pretty exciting heat pump grant program. We don't know the details yet, but we know that's coming soon. So stay tuned for that. So simply, ZeroDraft is one of our newest partners. They joined the HeatSmart team this summer, and we actually asked them to join because of their terrific reputation for helping out homeowners, treating them really well, and doing good work. And especially here in Chemung County, where we didn't have any company, although ZeroDraft is based in Syracuse. Sean is local here, and so it's been great to be able to refer folks to somebody who lives in their own community.
Thank you,
So
Lisa.
to get to work with HeatSmart, you go ahead and enroll at heatsmarttompkins.org or heatsmartchemung.org. Will also take you to the same website. It's actually the Solar Tompkins website. We started as a Solarize program. And these, you select one of the installers to come and give you a free assessment, and there's no obligation to you. So the assessments, the energy audits aren't really free. We're all paying for them with that systems benefit charge that we pay. So you might as well take advantage of this wonderful opportunity to have someone like Sean come to your home and take a look and give you a proposal. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing the slides. I'm glad to see that Susan made it back after getting dropped twice off Zoom. And this is your opportunity to ask questions of me or Sean about this particular job, about the HeatSmart program, about ZeroDraft, or about, weatherization or heat pumps in general. So thanks for listening, and excited to take your questions.